We have the pleasure of having Dr. Victor Wee, Secretary General of the Ministry of Tourism of Malaysia, with us. The Ministry of Tourism is the host of the UNWTO World Tourism Conference here in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us here, and wanted to learn, when you accepted to host the conference, what did you have in mind in terms of accomplishing for not only Malaysia but tourism in general?
Well, we think that having a conference such as this is a good way in order to bring the tourism players together, especially if we can bring in experts talking on a topic like success stories. It is possible for people to share their experiences so that whoever participates in the conference can also learn. The other thing is that this is a way of celebrating Visit Malaysia Year. And in fact, the idea of having this conference came about when we were in Senegal. We were at that time trying to bid for the hosting of the AGM for the World UNWTO. And at that time, the other country that was competing with Malaysia was Colombia. But because the argument was that the previous AGMs was held in East Asia, so this time, please give, because of the regional rotation, give the chance to Latin America, and that's how Colombia, won the bid. But then the Secretary General, Mr. Fanjali, mentioned that if Malaysia likes, they can help us to organize a conference. And we said, well, that sounds like a good idea. And so we worked together to get this conference going. Interesting thing about this World Tourism Conference, the first conference was held actually in 1980 in Manila, Philippines. The second conference was held in Acapulco in Mexico. And after that, there was no World Tourism Conference. And this is the third World Tourism Conference, but certainly the first of this millennia that is held in Malaysia. So there's a gap of about 26 years.
Well, I think it is excellent that it coincides with the celebration of 50 years of nationhood for Malaysia. The theme, as you say, is about success, about celebrating success stories of tourism. What are some of the ones you've heard today that sticks to your mind?
Well, certainly one was, of course, Malaysia's own presentation, because I think we have been fairly successful in growing our tourism industry, especially if you see that during the 1990s, from 1990 to 1998, the trend for tourism growth was really a horizontal line. And it was range bound. It fell within 5.5 million to 7.5 million arrivals for about 8 years, despite having 2 Visit Malaysia years. But at that time, in 1997-98, we had a crisis, and we saw the contraction of major economic sectors. So the Malaysian government decided, to use tourism as a vehicle, as a strategy, to bring about the turning around of the Malaysian economy, and identifying tourism as a new growth sector. And because of that, giving the tourism sector more resources and a much more concerted effort to grow the sector. And after that, if you look at the growth from 1998 to 2006, the growth has been 15.5% on a compounded annual basis. So you could see that from a horizontal line, it suddenly went up into a growth trajectory. So that was a case that I presented.
That's a very much a success story. What do you think happened to facilitate that growth?
I think first of all, people within the government itself begin to realize that tourism sector, although it has something to do with leisure, is really a serious economic sector. So it is firstly the government feeling committed, saying that, well, this is a sector that we can use to grow something, and because of the interrelationship of the tourism, travel and tourism activity with the rest of the economy. And then the other thing came the realization that if you were to give some kind of resources to do marketing and promotion, especially when you already have your tourism base, the returns that you get will be multiple what you have invested. Let me just give you an example, and this also came from a question that was raised just a few minutes ago. They were saying, what is the kind of resources that you put in order to get the kind of tourism arrivals? Last year we had 17.5 million tourists and getting about 36 billion ringgit, or it's about 11 billion US dollars. And I give an example that to run Visit Malaysia here, we argued to the government, we presented a case that if you were to give us an extra amount of the normal promotional budget of 150 million Malaysian ringgit, we will be able to bring back, when we run this Visit Malaysia Year campaign, 4.5 billion ringgit in return.
150 million ringgit is about 50 million US.
Yes.
To bring back 4.5 billion ringgit, that's about 1.5 billion US dollars. Okay, $150,000 to 1.5 billion. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
that is very good in terms of any calculations, any business that you do. So this is the thing. If when your tourism products are ready, and it is possible for you to build on campaigns like this, that is running very successful events, and adopting new strategies on how to promote and tell to the rest of the world that we have Visit Malaysia here, and making people feel excited about it, then it is possible for us. I think that basically for Visit Malaysia here, I feel fairly comfortable of achieving the kind of targets that we're looking at. So it's like 17.5 million tourists, raising it to 20.1 million, and that is the target for Visit Malaysia here. And based on our calculations, that will bring us 4.5 billion extra. If without Visit Malaysia here, we should get something like about 18.3, 18.4 million tourists. But by having Visit Malaysia, we'd have raised it to 20.1 million. And then we calculate the differential, how much resources you put in and how much your return. So tourism is really good investments, really, for the national economy.
What will be the residual benefits from Visit Malaysia 2007 for the people, for the industry?
Oh, I think they benefits us a lot, because I think one of the things to make a Visit Malaysia year successful is to be able to get all the various actors, the stakeholders to be single-minded about doing certain things. For instance, if you look at the government agencies, tourism does not really fall under the full control of the Ministry of Tourism. Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Local Governments, Immigration, everybody is involved. And their actions will have an impact on tourist arrivals. So when you begin to have Visit Malaysia here, and when it is accepted at the highest level of government, then all the other agencies would have to kind of facilitate, they have to ensure that their own actions, their regulations do not hinder, do not block the arrival of tourists, which means that, for instance, I was very glad to note that the Immigration Department has been very positive, and they have come up with a lot of liberalizations and easing of visa requirements, which actually helps people to come and visit Malaysia, like visa on arrival and things like that. And various agencies have to almost realign themselves for Visit Malaysia. Yeah. So that is as far as government.
The way you just said that sounds like some of this happened without a lot of meetings, that everybody just got on the same page and decided this is what we need to do.
No, but you also need a coordination meeting in order to bring people together. We have several levels of meeting, including a cabinet level, cabinet committee on tourism, and it is at that meeting that we bring in certain things that we see that has to be addressed, and which are the agencies involved, and so that becomes a kind of a forum in which things are being redressed. Then the other thing is that on the Malaysian, on the business side, the business players would also now have to focus their minds for Visit Malaysia here, and it also helps them to communicate more effectively with the government for us to be able to get the numbers that we want. It also means that we will also have to be to think in a very creative ways on how we can get the numbers, how do we go about promoting tourism. And I think there's the other thing that we're also running. We're running a program called Malaysia Welcomes the World, and that is to make the average Malaysian man on the street realize that, hey, tourism is really important, because it is because of tourism that it's giving us, creating income for the country, it's creating employment, and let us do something, let us play our part as Malaysians to make the tourism sector, to make Visit Malaysia successful. And if some other people or some other agencies or whoever, other Malaysians do not look after maybe a beach resort that becomes very dirty and messy because of very poor rubbish disposal. People will write in the newspapers and say this is not the way we should conduct ourselves. Remember, this is Visit Malaysia. Yeah, so people begin to have a sense of ownership, and which means that if you would like to develop the country as a tourism country, that is how every Malaysian would have to think about. So that is the benefit of Visit Malaysia, really.
You have beautiful nature here, of course, and you have a lot of history and heritage. Talking about fixing things up, so to speak, if anything is not exactly right. I happened to look up recently on the World Heritage site, and on the tentative list is Malacca and Penang. Is that something that is being addressed in terms of getting those two in a position where it might get on the permanent World Heritage list?
Well, I think they are already bidding for that, and I believe that the teams from UNESCO will be coming over very shortly to make some kind of evaluation whether or not those two cities could be included as under the World Heritage destination. Yeah. That's right. Mm.
No, I mean I bring that up because this whole energy and commitment, investment, I presume the idea is to make it sustainable beyond Visit Malaysia 2007.
That's right. I'm hoping that really the kind of work that we do will take us beyond Visit Malaysia Year, because there's no point having Visit Malaysia Year in which there's a lot of excitement and ideas, and after Visit Malaysia Year it just becomes like a like a kind of a wet blanket and it falls flat. The ideas that we have put in, the work that we go on, is really for the long term. It is really moving the whole country to a different trajectory. And when you begin to have Visit Malaysia, when you go for this World Heritage Site destination, it also you would also need to learn what is it that is what does it take in order for you to qualify to be included in the list, and what is it that you must do? Because sometimes governments, in the excitement to do things, will want to have all kinds of development all at the same time, and instead of enhancing the World Heritage Site, it actually detracts from them. And this is something that we really have to be careful, because this kind of go-go kind of what do you call it, attitude of let's do something, let's try to make it exciting, and instead of having something authentic, it becomes something that's just plastic and artificial, and that's not what we want.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wee, and look forward to speaking with you at the end of the conference and recap what your thoughts are about it.
All right. Thanks very much.